It's a battle royale, my friends. Battle of the chicken chili. I've got 3 awesome recipes from chilipeppermadness.com, and it's time for you to tell me which one is your favorite. Let's do it. First up is white chicken chili. Lots of white beans, lots of chicken, great spices. Very simple recipe, but sometimes simplest is best. First thing we do is get my pan nice and hot, a good-sized pot here, and add a bit of olive oil. And I have about 1.5 pounds of chicken. I'm using some chopped chicken breast and chicken thighs. I like the mixture, but you can really use just chicken breast or chicken thighs if you want to. And I have a medium-sized white onion chopped, and I have a mixture of chili peppers here. So for this recipe, for these peppers that I'm using, I have some jalapeno. I have a spicy pepper that I grew in my garden, and also some poblano peppers. And you can use roasted poblanos, which is great here, but I'm just going to use the fresh chopped poblanos. So, all right, cook this down for about 5 minutes or so to soften up the vegetables and get the chicken a bit browned. All right, the chicken is browning up nicely. So moving forward, next we add some fresh chopped garlic. And I always like to use a lot of garlic, as I like to say. I have about 4 cloves, I believe, just all chopped up. And you only need to cook it down for about 30 seconds or so until you can smell that gorgeous garlic bloom. Love it. Delicious. All right. So next step here is I've got my white beans. And I'm using Great Northern beans here, but you can really use any type of white bean. Use your favorite. And I have a couple of cups here of chicken broth. Just get that popped in. And you can use vegetable if you want to, or other broths, but chicken's got good flavor. Get this nicely stirred, and now comes the seasoning. So with the seasonings, you can really change up the types and the amounts of seasonings that you do, but this is a blend that I personally prefer. So for this recipe, I have about a tablespoon each here. I've got a tablespoon of cumin, and I have a tablespoon of American chili powder blend, and I have a tablespoon of ancho powder, and I have a tablespoon of dried oregano. And do not forget salt and pepper to taste. And lastly, hot sauce to taste. You can skip the hot sauce if you want to keep it milder. Add a lot, of course, for extra spicy. Get popped in. A little more. Sorry, Patty. All right, so here we go, guys. We're just going to let this simmer for a little while and let all the flavors blend and bloom. It's going to work together, become a delicious pot of white bean chicken chili. So I will return when it's just about done. So at this point, what you can do, you can adjust your seasonings if you want to. A little more salt, a little more pepper, a little more hot sauce, a little more chili powder. Just really go with your personal tastes. But what I want to do is I want to thicken this up just a little bit. So I've got a couple tablespoons here of cornmeal, and the cornmeal will help thicken up your chili a little bit. And I'll also add a little bit of extra flavor to it. You get that corn flavor. And we'll let it simmer for another 10 minutes to thicken up nicely, and then we will come take a look. It's almost done. All right, boom, look at this. It has thickened up nicely. That's it. That's super easy to make, isn't it? Number 2 is buffalo chicken chili. You've got all that awesome flavor and heat, buffalo sauce. It's basically buffalo chicken in chili form. Oh, man. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna heat a large pot up to medium heat. And I have my ingredients all set up. There are quite a few ingredients to this dish, but it's absolutely worth it. So I'm gonna add a bit of oil to my pot. And I've got 2 pounds of chicken, and here I'm using chicken thigh today, but you can use chicken breast or a mix. Do a little bit at a time. And you really just want to cut the chicken into bite-sized pieces for a chili. All right, then I'm going to move this over to a bowl, and then we'll cook the rest. Do it in batches here. All right, I got my chicken mostly cooked through here. Going to set it all aside, and in the same pot, a little more oil if you need it. And we're going to cook down the veggies here, the veggie base, flavor base. I have a large onion that has been chopped. And I've got some chili peppers here. My recipe calls for a couple of jalapenos, but today I'm using 1 jalapeno, 1 serrano, which is a bit hotter, and habanero pepper for myself, because I had some hobs, and I like some heat. Patty's going to really love the extra heat. All right, so we're going to cook these down for about 4 to 5 minutes or so. All right, next is garlic, and I have about 5 cloves here, maybe 6. I love lots of garlic, as you well know. And you'll cook this for about 30 seconds to a minute until, of course, the gorgeous garlic blooms in the room. All right, now we're gonna add our spices, and I'm gonna turn the heat down just a little bit. So here I have 2 tablespoons of chili powder. It's an American blend, and a tablespoon of freshly ground cumin, and a teaspoon of spicy cayenne pepper. And you can skip the cayenne if you want, a little bit milder. And salt and pepper to taste. Whoop. And then here I have 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Stir this in and cook for 30 seconds to a minute or so. So next I have a 1 cup of chicken stock, but today I'm using water with some bouillon. So get that added in here. And you want to scrape up the brown bits from the bottom of the pan because that's flavor in there, deliciousness. But here's the bouillon. I've been really loving for quite a long time now, Knorr bouillon. And it's definitely a recommended product. It's delicious flavor. I love it. Get this stirred in here. So let's talk about the buffalo sauce. I'm using a whole cup because I love buffalo sauce flavor. And you can use store-bought brand, but you really don't get any better buffalo sauce than homemade. I absolutely love it. I think you will love it too. And we have fire roasted tomatoes. Amazing, I love fire roasted tomatoes. Feel free to fire roast your own. Give it a stir. Now for my purist chili friends out there, you can absolutely skip the beans. I'm adding beans. I got some light red here, kidney beans. Stir it in. I'm gonna go ahead and add my chicken back to the pot and stir it all together. It's a nice thick chili. If you want, you can add a little bit more liquid, add some more chicken stock or more tomatoes. So next we're gonna let this simmer for at least 30 minutes. I recommend it at least 30 minutes, but you can go longer to really let all those flavors meld together. All right, guys, I've been simmering for about 40 minutes. And seriously, look at this. Look at it, check it out. Chunky, delicious looking chili. You could serve at this point if you want to, but don't forget your garnish. You can use all your favorite chili toppings, whatever you like, some crispy, crunchy tortilla chips, things like that. But I love to have a little bit of a blue cheese crumble and some fresh herbs and chili flake, of course. But hey, use your favorites. Number 3, green chicken chili. Awesome chili in a verde sauce. I don't want to sway anything here, but this is Patty's absolute favorite, so will Patty win today? The first thing we want to do is make our green sauce or verde sauce, and this is a simple one. We're only using 3 primary ingredients, but they're powerful, delicious ingredients. And the first one is roasted chilies. So I've got a pound of roasted green chilies, and I'm using hatch chilies that I purchased and roasted. You can use canned if you want to, or frozen roasted chilies. Really any roasted chilies work here. You can buy them online as well. And I also have some jalapeno peppers, fresh jalapenos from the garden. And you can use spicier if you'd like to. And also tomatillos. So tomatillos are just nice and tangy. And I'm using 2 pounds today, but full disclosure, I went to the grocery store today and they didn't have enough tomatillos. They only had about 1 pound because I actually bought all the other tomatillos earlier in the week for a verde sauce for chicken tacos. Sorry, my bad. But the good news is that you can use canned tomatillos here. So I bought some canned tomatillos. Fresh is ideal, really the best, but I get this question a lot from people, especially outside the US and in Mexico. You can use canned tomatillos if you can't find fresh. So we're gonna get it into a blender here and we're gonna process it up. Look at that, good blender, eh? And you can add salt here if you want to, but we're gonna be salting later when we do the cooking. So here we go, deliciousness right there. Gonna set this aside and let's make some chili. All right, next we're going to sear our chicken. Got my cooking station all set up. Get a pot heated up to a medium-high heat for a decent sear. And we'll add a couple tablespoons of oil. And we're gonna go ahead and sear the chicken in batches. You really just wanna brown 2 to 3 minutes. You don't wanna cook it all the way through necessarily because it's gonna cook in the stew. But you don't wanna overcrowd the chicken. Oh, the chicken is seasoned with salt and pepper. All right, I got my chicken all browned up the way I like it. And got everything moved over to a bowl for now. And I'm gonna reduce my heat to more of a medium heat. You can add a little bit of extra oil if you'd like at this point. And we're gonna go ahead and cook down some onion. I've got 1 large onion. And we're gonna cook this down for about 4 to 5 minutes to soften it up. All right, next is garlic. Got some chopped garlic here. And I have 4 to 5 cloves. I think I used 4 big cloves. And you can use more or less to your preference with garlic. And you're gonna cook this down for 30 seconds to a minute or so, until of course the gorgeous garlic blooms in the room. All right, now we're gonna add some seasonings here. And here I have a tablespoon of Hatch green chili powder. You can use other chili powder like a red chili powder blend, but it'll affect the final color of your dish. And I have a tablespoon of Mexican oregano, a teaspoon of ground cumin, good to grind it yourself, and salt and pepper to taste. And we're gonna cook this down for just a little bit, stirring to kind of bloom the spices a bit. You don't wanna go too long and make them bitter, but this will just add a little bit extra. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and add our verde that we made. It's thickened up a bit. Give this a stir, and you can scrape up some of those brown bits off the bottom at this point. There's a lot of flavor in those brown bits. And it would be very thick at this point, so we're gonna go ahead and add some stock. And my recipe calls for 1/2 cup to 1 cup of chicken stock. So I'm gonna use some bouillon today. And I've got a 1/2 cup that I'm using, but you can add more if you want to make it a little bit more soupy, a little bit looser. You can always add that at the end as well. All right, now we're gonna return the chicken to the pot with any accumulated juices. And I'm gonna add some beans to our chili. And my recipe calls for 1 to 2 cans of white beans, but I'm gonna add 2 cans today because I want it to be filled out and a heartier meal for personal preference and for some friends who love beans. All right, gonna mix it all together here, and then we're gonna bring it to a light boil, reduce the heat, cover, and simmer for 20 to 30 minutes to really let those flavors develop and let the chicken cook through, and it'll be very delicious. Quick and easy, as mentioned. All right, I'm getting some activity here, so I'm gonna go ahead and reduce the heat to a simmer, cover, and I will be back in about 30 minutes, and we will check it out and see how it is. So, all right, Patty, set the timer. All right, my good friends, check it out. Woohoo, look at that. Dude, oh, chicken verde. Smells amazing in here. So next up here, I'm gonna turn it off heat. And this is optional, but I like to do this for extra flavor. I'm gonna add in about a 1/2 cup of fresh chopped cilantro. And the recipe calls for juice from a fresh lime. I'll do a half a lime today. It's really for a bit of extra citrusy punchiness. I'm gonna go ahead and swirl this in. Oh yeah, oh look at that, it looks amazing. That's it, my friends. 2 of these recipes are in my new cookbook, Flavor Madness, which I hope you will check out. And I also hope you will come to the website, chilipeppermadness.com. I've got over 1,000 more spicy recipes waiting for you. I'll see you there.